Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of all of the leaked listings regarding the Transformers Studio Series line as well as the Movie Masterpiece line. Now something which is worth noting before we actually delve into this video is that everything I shall be discussing up until this point is merely based on speculation as well as leaked listings. Unfortunately nothing as of yet is confirmed, although in the past when I have done coverage on leaked listings, basically 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 they have always been proven to be correct, so I am more than certain that the majority of the characters / figures on this list that I shall be talking about we will have in our collections towards the end of this year, or if not at the beginning of 2022. If these leaks are anything to go by, we have some whoppers to be introduced into our movie collections, both for G1 and for the live action fans, and 2021 is already off to a great start, as of course we had the first wave of 86 movie figures which were released towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, and of course we do have the very small live action movie wave which consists of Cybertronian Starscream, Deluxe Class Dino, and of course Cybertronian B127, all of which I have taken a look at over on the channel, so be sure to check out their reviews after this video is done. So without further ado, let's kick things off and discuss some of the rumoured movie masterpiece figures that we can expect to see in 2021. And so, kicking things off with what is arguably the most exciting piece of news that I shall be discussing in today's video, here we have supposedly our first look at the Transformers movie masterpiece Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. Unfortunately, out of all of the leaks that I shall be discussing in today's video, this one here I'm a little more hesitant to actually believe, as I don't believe we have actually got any leaked listings on this figure, and usually leaked listings come way before we actually see the figures in hand, and as this here is supposedly an in-package shot, I'm really surprised that up until this point this figure has not yet been rumoured. But taking a look here at the image, from what I can tell you can see that it is very blurry. The figure does appear to be legit, and if it is legit, this will be by far one of my most anticipated movie masterpiece figures of all time, as the Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, for those of you who have watched any of my third-party 3.0 reviews or even the Studio Series 38 review, you will all know how much I love that design. So to get it here in a Takara Tomy MP release, I shall certainly be ordering it the moment that it is announced. But taking a look here at the image, you can see that from what we can tell, it does look very accurate to the movie. Something which I'm unable to tell is whether or not he does indeed have Autobot insignias on his shoulders, and that really would be a dead giveaway on whether or not this figure here is legit, as of course Hasbro and Takara Tomy and any of their official partners are only allowed to use the Autobot insignias, whereas third-party companies are not. And if this here is just a screen cap from a third-party figure that has been slapped on a masterpiece box, then unfortunately it's looking unlikely that this figure will indeed surface. Another reason why I'm a little more hesitant to actually believe this figure is coming is because really and truly they do appear to be focusing solely on the 07 movie. Of course, we did get the Bumblebee movie Volkswagen Beetle that was released around when the Bumblebee movie did indeed hit theatres, but 2 years on, that is the only B-movie character that we have seen, so in my opinion it wouldn't necessarily make sense to backtrack to the Bumblebee movie without finishing off the 07 movie, and the next movie masterpiece figure that we shall be discussing is indeed a continuation of the 07 film. So personally I'm really hoping that this figure here is indeed legit. However, until I see at least a listing or of course an official announcement by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, I would recommend taking this leak listing here with an enormous pinch of salt. The next rumoured listing that we have for the movie masterpiece line is a clunker Bumblebee, or of course the 1978 Camaro that we saw Bumblebee obtain in the first live action movie, and personally I really do believe that this figure is pretty much confirmed. We all know how much Hasbro and even Takara Tomy to an extent love Bumblebee, and so to inject a new Bumblebee into this line, I'm pretty certain it would be an easy cash grab. And to be honest with you, I've always absolutely loved how the 1978 Camaro did look, and I'm so glad that we did see Bumblebee rescan into that towards the end of the B movie. So here's hoping in the next live action movie we do actually see him sport this vehicle mode, and that he doesn't reverse back to the VW bug, which don't get me wrong, I also am a massive fan of. But getting back here to this leaked listing, much like I discussed when we took a look at the in-packaged Optimus Prime shot, I really believe that this figure here is pretty much confirmed, as of course it is a continuation of the 07 movie, and I believe Hasbro and Takara Tomy are going to want to get as many of the smaller scale live action movie figures out before they begin to approach the larger ones. Of course, as far as the 07 movie is concerned, I believe they've only got to actually do the Decepticons now, such as Brawl, Blackout and of course Bone Crusher, and all of them are going to be gigantic. So to give us a smaller masterpiece here with Bumblebee, I'm almost certain we shall be seeing this, and it's also quite an easy figure for them to produce as well, as essentially all they have to do is to take the MPM 03 Bumblebee and of course just modify the outer shell to resemble the older Camaro, and there you have your new movie masterpiece. I'm really looking forward to seeing as to how this figure does actually look. So here's hoping Hasbro do an online event really shortly. I am aware that Toy Fair was supposed to take place this weekend weekend, and of course, due to the current world events, it has unfortunately been postponed, but that's not to say that we shan't be seeing it online. And so, moving on to Transformers Studio Series, we shall first begin by discussing some of the leaked listings for the 86 movie characters. So, to begin with, we have the Deluxe Class Nor. Personally, I believe this here is going to be a multi-pack, much like we saw from the RC triplets that we got, I believe in 2019, or it may have even been the beginning of 2020. I'm not convinced that Hasbro would just repackage the same Sharkticon that we got as part of the Titans Return line, nor just re-release the figure that we recently got in the Quintesson Pit of Judgment, as from what we've seen so far from the 86 movie line, they do appear to be all entirely new sculpts, and they are solely striving for movie accuracy, so I'm almost certain that this here shall be an in-scaled multi-pack of Sharkticons, perhaps 3 or 4 of them. They wouldn't even necessarily have to transform, although I'm pretty certain that they will have a very simplistic conversion, once again, much like the RC triplets. I'm really looking forward to seeing as to how these guys actually do turn out. I'm thinking that perhaps they may be along the lines of what we saw from the Transformers Cyberverse Adventures Sharkticon pack, where there was multiples of them, however at a much smaller scale. So definitely really eager to see as to what they have up their sleeves as far as this is concerned. We also do have 2 Voyager Class figures rumoured, so the first of which is indeed Wreck-Gar. I'm really looking forward to this character. The last time I believe we saw this was in the Power of the Primes line, and I'm not entirely sure about yourselves, but out of all of those deluxes, I thought that that one was probably the best from that line, or at least was one of the highlights. So to get this figure as a Voyager Class with the updated engineering that we've been seeing from this line so far, as well as appearing a lot more movie accurate, this figure here will definitely be one to add to the collection. The next Voyager Class figure that we have rumoured to be introduced into this 86 movie subline is the Sweeps. Now, we all pretty much knew this was coming. I personally was actually going to purchase 2 more of Scourge, although I'm definitely glad that I did hold out and actually waited for this release. I'm pretty certain this will basically just be a repack of Scourge, maybe with a slight tweak to the face sculpt. I'm really not thinking that there will be much new here, as of course the Sweeps were essentially just clones of Scourge in the movie, although it will be great for army building, and the 86 movie Scourge as a Voyager Class is actually a really good mold, so it would be great to have some more of these and to get the opportunity to actually army build without purchasing just a rehash of Scourge. And the final figure, which is rumoured to be the leader class of the next 86 movie wave, is a leader class Dinobot Slug with Daniel. I'm so excited to see as to what Hasbro and Takara Tomy have up their sleeves for this release, as I was blown away with the 86 movie leader class Grimlock, and it is also great to see that it does appear as if all of the Dinobots shall indeed be in the leader class assortment. That is something that fans and collectors have wanted for years. We were all so frustrated with how small the Dinobots from the Power of the Primes line were, and whilst those figures were decent, none of them were up to the standard that we saw from the 86 movie Grimlock. Slug is also a Triceratops as well, so wouldn't necessarily fit all that well in the Voyager class line, so it is great to see him in the leader class. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little smaller of a leader when in comparison to Grimlock, although they are packaging in Daniel, which I'm pretty certain will be very similar to how Wheelie was included with Grimlock, in the sense that the figure was detailed, although was not very articulated, and of course was basically pre-posed. But nevertheless, really excited to see this particular figure realised in plastic form, and of course with this leaked listing of Slug, I'm almost certain that we will be getting the full 5 Dinobot team into our Studio Series 86 movie collection. So 100% really glad to see the Studio Series line going from strength to strength, and I am actually really glad that they did inject the 86 movie characters into this line, just to give it a little more longevity, and of course refresh the line and give us some of those characters that we maybe would never have seen without them actually being introduced into this subline. Now, moving along to the live action movie figures that we can expect from the Studio Series line, I shall very briefly go over some of the repaints and slight retools. So to begin with, we are expected to see a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee with Sam Witwicky. Now, I'm almost certain that this is just once again going to be a repack of the same figure that we saw released from the first wave of the buzzworthy Bumblebee line, so unless there are any modifications to the paint apps, this will be an easy miss, as I already own that figure. We are also expected to be seeing a Revenge of the Fallen sideswipe. Now, despite this for the most part on paper appearing to just be a slight retool of the original Dark of the Moon version that we got released, I believe 3 years ago now, I'm pretty certain many collectors are going to be going after this, as I know for a fact that the Studio Series DOTM sideswipe is one of the more elusive releases, and unfortunately many collectors never actually had the opportunity to pick him up. So here, with the Revenge of the Fallen re-release, collectors are once again going to be getting another opportunity to purchase this character, and in the Revenge of the Fallen movie, the Corvette Stingray was indeed a hardtop and not a convertible like DOTM, so Of course, it will have the added roof section, which may add an additional layer of back kibble to the character, but as far as the robot mode is concerned, I'm pretty certain it will be exactly the same, and the same for the vehicle mode, despite the fact that it will have the modified top. As for the most part, this here will be a re-release. I'm really hoping that Hasbro and Takara Tomy do actually paint the rims of Sideswipe. It was really ugly that the entire vehicle mode had been painted super nicely, and then unfortunately the rims were just left a dull grey on the original DOTM version, so here's hoping that they do actually paint the entire figure. But for sure, a nice way to get what is essentially a re-release into the collection, with something a little different for fans who have already purchased the original version, and enough similar for those of you who didn't pick up the DOTM version to basically get the same figure. We are also expected from the Leader Class assortment to be seeing a Leader Class Grindor with Ravage. Now there are actually two ways that Hasbro can go about this. They can go the lazy route, or they can go the route that I really hope them to go with, which is of course spending a little more money to give us a better figure. Now, the lazy route they could go is to just give us a repaint of Blackout into Grindor with perhaps a slightly more darker colour scheme and not modify the character at all. Or if they were to spend more budget, they could really do something special here. I'm hoping that they completely pop off the legs, give us longer leg pieces, modify the back of the helicopter, as the helicopter that Grindor did actually obtain is bigger than the one that Blackout obtained, and of course give us a new weapon. The weapon that came with Blackout was awful. It was really bad. The propeller blade didn't really resemble what we saw in the movie, so here's hoping that Grindor does also come with a new weapon. But if they do not retool the chest, or if they do not retool the legs, I will be really let down by this character. It is also stated that he shall be including Ravage, which to me is an indication that we are more than likely just going to be getting a reissue of Blackout, as of course Blackout was on the slightly shorter side as far as the Leader Class was concerned, so to compensate for that they did include Scorponok, and as they are now including Ravage, it is an indication to me that Grindor will just be a repaint, which I'll be so let down by. But Ravage definitely does sound promising. I'm predicting a very detailed, perhaps rather static character once again, much like we got with Scorponok, but it will be great to have Ravage into our Studio Series collection. So for this character, I'm definitely looking out for some in-hand shots and of course promotional images to really decide on whether or not this figure will be up there as far as some of my most anticipated. We are also expected to be seeing a Studio Series Thrust. Now this, I'm pretty sure everyone knew was coming. It was obvious that Hasbro were not going to completely give us an entirely new sculpt with Cybertronian Starscream and not repaint it 100 times, and with the listing here of Thrust, once again it is just going to be a repaint in my opinion, perhaps slight modification to the head sculpt in order to give him a nose cone, although I personally can't recall seeing Thrust in the Bumblebee movie, so perhaps Hasbro are going to be going off some concept ideas. It will be really interesting to see how this character does indeed turn out. Now, one of the standout characters from this Studio Series live action wave is the fact that we have a leaked listing of a character which has actually been rumoured for a considerable amount of time now, the Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Jolt. Finally, we are getting some more obscure Michael Bay characters injected into this line, and with this character making an appearance, could we potentially be seeing some other obscure characters? Maybe DevCon is more of a possibility than he has ever been before. Who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But with Jolt, I'm just hoping for a more movie accurate look. Of course, unfortunately, we never really got a great look of the character, but taking a look at the CGI design, he was by far one of the most visually interesting characters, and he would have to come with his electric whips, as really and truly Jolt was a pivotal piece in saving the day in the Transformers 2 movie when he did help combine Jetfire and Optimus Prime. So definitely once again looking forward to seeing some in-packaged and of course promotional images of this figure, and I would love to know down in the comment section below, what do you think of this Studio Series line overall? Are you happy with what we are to expect from the live action figures as well as the 86 movie figures? I personally believe that if half of these figures are true, we are in for what is potentially one of the best years for the line so far. Of course, going back to the movie masterpiece assortment, we have a rumoured Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, which if it is true, I will more than likely probably drop dead on the spot due to excitement, as I love that design, and to get it produced by Hasbro and Takara Tomy at the masterpiece scale with that complex conversion, I just think will be fantastic. I'm hoping the rumours are true for the 1978 Camaro Bumblebee. I'm pretty sure that they are, as of course we've seen listings, and it is an obvious route for them to go for. So overall, that just about wraps up everything we can expect to see from the Movieverse for 2021 in regards to the movie masterpiece line and the Studio Series line. Of course, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, currently all of this here is speculation and is based on merely leaked listings, so take all of this here with a pinch of salt, although I am more than certain that we will will see all of these characters before 2021 is out. I thank you all for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it somewhat informative and that you did enjoy my commentary. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below. I would also love to know on what you think of some of these leaked characters and whether or not you shall be adding any of them to your collection, some of them or none at all. Please be sure to engage with me down in the comment section below. I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.